Hi, welcome to another video. Before starting the video, I'd like to tell you that I have become more active on my AI King channel now. I am posting some news stuff and some developer-related tools that I don't cover here. So you can go ahead and check it out as well. I'll put the link to it in the description. So we all know the situation with Claude Code by now. It's arguably the best AI coding agent out there. But ever since Anthropic basically started rug pulling with the usage limits, it has become really hard to justify. You have weekly limits, the max plan costs a fortune, and even then people keep hitting caps in the middle of their work. It's kind of sad because the tool itself is really good, but the pricing situation is just not it for most people, especially students. But what if I told you that you can use Claude Code completely for free, with whatever model you want behind it? Well, that's exactly what we're looking at today. There's a project called Free Claude Code, or FCC for short, and it has been blowing up on GitHub. It's sitting at about 37,000 stars right now, which is just insane for a project like this. So what is it exactly? Free Claude Code is a local proxy that sits between Claude Code and the model providers. Claude Code thinks it's talking to Anthropic's API, but the proxy intercepts those calls and routes them to any of the 25 providers that it supports. We're talking NVIDIA, NIM, OpenRouter, Gemini, DeepSeek, Mistral, Groq, Cerebras, GitHub Models, Kimi Minimax, GLM through Z.ai, and a bunch more. It also supports local models through Ollama LM Studio and llama.cpp, so you can even run it fully offline if your machine can handle it. And it's not just Claude Code either. It also works with Codex and PI, so you get 3 coding agents through one proxy. It handles all the protocol translation between the Anthropic messages format and the OpenAI format behind the scenes, including thinking blocks, tool calls, and token usage, so the agents just work like they normally would. Plus, it's fully open source under the MIT license, which is great to see. Now, let me show you how to set it all up. Before we dive in, let me tell you something. Boris Cherny built Claude Code, and he said something that stuck with me. He doesn't write the prompts anymore. The loop does. His job is to write the loop. A loop acts, observes a real signal, decides what to do next, and repeats until a goal actually holds. 5 blocks: trigger, goal, the work, memory, and verification, the feedback gate, the 1 block allowed to say no, not done yet. Everyone tunes the model and the prompt. Almost nobody builds this block. And in 2026, your loop is only as good as its feedback gate. Here's what that cost me. I had a loop running for 2 days, tests green every single iteration. I came back to it proud of myself, opened the app, and the whole checkout flow was dead button. Did nothing, no error, just dead. The agent had been running unit tests against its own mocks the entire time. Green on its own machine, reporting done on something no real user could actually use. A green run on the agent's own machine proves nothing. So the question I got stuck on is, what's the one signal that actually closes the loop? And it's the boring answer, the deployed thing behaving for a real user. That's the block I'd tell you to obsess over. The verifier I use is open source, the TestSprite CLI. The agent calls it mid-build, and it drives the live app like a real user would, not mocks. The actual deployed thing, when it broke that checkout flow again, it didn't just say failed. It handed back a screenshot of exactly what the user would have seen. The dead button, frozen, the agent read. That patched it, reran. I wasn't in the loop for any of it. That's what a closed loop actually feels like. Not a bigger brain, a stricter referee. The model isn't your bottleneck anymore. The loop is. And the loop is only as good as what's allowed to tell it no. If you want to start using it, then the installation process is very simple. You'll need Node 20.19, 22.13, or 24 and up. Install with npm install g at testsprite/testsprite CLI. Grab your API key from the dashboard under Settings, API Keys, copy it. It only shows once. Run TestSprite setup, paste your key in, then confirm everything's connected with TestSprite auth status. That's it. You're ready to go. So when you design your next one, don't start with the model. Start with the verifier. For me, that's TestSprite, open source Apache 2.0, links below. First, the installation. It's just one command. On Mac or Linux, you open your terminal and run the curl command from their repo, which pipes their install script into your shell. It's the one you can see on screen, and I'll also link it below. If you're on Windows, there's a PowerShell one-liner that does the same thing. The nice thing is that the installer takes care of everything. If you don't have Claude Code or Codex installed, it provisions them for you, and it also sets up the proxy itself. If you're paranoid about piping scripts into your shell, which is fair, the scripts are right there in the repo, so you can review them before running. The same command also updates the install later on. Once that's done, you get a few new commands. The main one is FCC-server, which starts the proxy. On Windows and Mac, it sits in your system tray. and on Linux, it just runs in your terminal. By default, it listens on port ATA2. Now, here's the part I really like. You don't have to mess around with config files at all. Everything is managed through an admin UI. Once the server is running, you just go to localhost :ATA82/admin in your browser. The default auth token is FreeCC, and you can change that later if you want. In the admin UI, you add your provider API keys. So, let's say you want to go the fully free route. You can grab a free API key from NVIDIA NIM, which gives you access to models like Nematron. You can also use the free models on OpenRouter, the free tier of the Gemini API, GitHub models if you have a GitHub account, or the free tiers from Groq and Cerebras, which are stupidly fast. You just paste the key into the UI, pick your default model, hit validate, and apply. That's literally it. There's also a really neat routing feature here. Claude Code internally uses different model tiers, like Opus for the heavy stuff, Sonnet for general work, and Haiku for the small background tasks. FCC lets you route each tier to a completely different model, so you could send the Opus class requests to a big model like Kimi or GLM, keep Sonnet on something like a Gemini flash model, and point Haiku at a tiny fast model on Groq, so the background stuff costs you nothing. You can also control the reasoning effort per tier, so you can force high reasoning for the big model and turn it off for the small ones. This is honestly a really well thought out setup. Once your provider is configured, you just run FCC-Claude in your terminal, and Claude Code starts up fully connected to the proxy. No login, no Anthropic account, nothing. There's also FCC-codex for codex and FCC-pi for pi, and they all accept the normal CLI arguments as well. So let's give it a quick test. I have it hooked up to a free model right now, and I'll just ask it to build a simple landing page. Let's send it and see. And you can see it's working through the task just like normal Claude Code would. It's reading files, making edits, running commands, all the usual agentic stuff. The proxy is normalizing the tool calls and the thinking blocks in the background, so the experience is basically identical. Obviously, the quality depends on the model you route it to, but with something like Kimi or GLM behind it, it's honestly quite close to the real thing for most tasks. So this is kind of great. Now, it's not just the terminal. If you use the Claude Code extension in VS Code, you can point that at the proxy too. You just add a few environment variables in your VS Code settings, mainly the Anthropic base URL set to localhost :8082 and the auth token set to FreeCC. The README has the exact snippet you can copy. There's a similar setup for the codex extension through its config.toml file, and even JetBrains support through the ACP config. So whatever editor you're in, you're covered, and here's where it gets even cooler. FCC also has built-in Discord and Telegram bots, kind of like OpenClaw. You create a bot through the Discord developer portal or BotFather on Telegram, paste the token into the messaging section of the admin UI, point it at a project directory, and now you can talk to your coding agent straight from your phone. You get commands like /stats to see the session state, /stop to cancel work, and /clear to reset everything. It even supports voice notes. If you rerun the installer with the --voice-local flag, it sets up local whisper transcription, or you can use the --voice-nim flag to transcribe through NVIDIA NIM instead. So you can literally send a voice message from your phone saying fix that bug in the auth flow, and the agent just goes and does it. This is pretty amazing, to be honest. A few things to keep in mind though. If you're running local models, you need enough context to fit the agent's system prompt and all the tool definitions, so the really tiny models will struggle. You'll also want to stick to models that are good at tool calling, because that's what the whole agent experience depends on. And some providers have small quirks, like Cloudflare, needing both an API token and an account ID, or Codestral using a separate key from the main Mistral one. The README documents all of this, so it's worth a read. If you ever want to remove it, there's a clean uninstall script as well, and it leaves Claude Code and the other tools in place, which is a nice touch. So what's the verdict? I think this is one of the best projects of its kind that I have seen yet. There have been proxies for Claude Code before, but the combination here is what sells it. You get 25 providers, per tier model routing, a proper admin UI, instead of config file hell, editor integrations, and Discord and Telegram bots with voice support, all in one MIT license package. Whether you want to run Claude Code on free API tiers on cheap APIs like DeepSeek or fully local on Ollama, it just works for students and anyone who can't justify the Claude Max pricing. This is a really good option for sure. Obviously, keep in mind that you're not getting the actual Claude models for free here. You're getting the Claude Code harness with other models behind it. But considering how good the open models have gotten lately, that trade-off is well worth it for a lot of people. Overall, it's pretty cool. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this video, consider donating through the Super Thanks option or becoming a member by clicking the Join button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Until then,